A lot of bills being motion on the floor tonight, actually. The next yeah. Yeah, how times have changed.
He's gonna call to it now. We're not wearing suits.
The farther we go, it's like the less attendance we get. Dog. Mm-mm. You get tell the Zoom to send that to me or no?
No, not at all. No, I'm preparing.
What's going on here? Have this dude.
Absolutely. Nobody can tell me what they're talking about. And why did you guys Becca. She just told me. Yeah, so she can't talk about it. He said, yeah, it's just like, what do I do with that? You have to do it. I guess so cool. Yeah, but I don't think it's awesome. Like, tomorrow on television. Oh, we can all say that.
Hi, Kenny.
I forgot to treat those.
What the?
You have to touch it already?
At some point, I'll come with you. Becca. Yes, you're so popular. We all want you.
Tell me what number I was thinking about.
Sorry? Yeah, I think I just had a move off just like
I really appreciate it. Let me do my hellos to everyone.
Start now. I know, I'm starting now. Yeah. Let us take our seats, please. Let us begin. If any senators out there, please get them in. Chairman Thomas, like the rest. Let's get them. You already are not at quorum, so.
Chairman Chen. Let me actually check what quorum is.
going to set us to get in the room here.
Is everything good?
Looks like it.
Okay.
Andrew, you see right there? You don't see Andrew out there? Oh, look at the Andrew. Oh. All right. Let us take our seats, please. Okay, so the Lord sees I carry you right now. Okay. Let us call this meeting to order. I just did. We'll begin with opening roll. It is open. Are you keeping track of the votes tonight? I mean, in terms of. So at 30. What do you know? Okay, vote is closed. So we have 27 here. I believe we have 3 on 2. So we're at 37. Right? I won't ask for approval of minutes because we are still behind those minutes. I won't ask for approval of minutes. I'm going to give March 3rd and kind of backlog with the minutes. So I'm going to bypass that because I already know you will ask me for that. I'm working on getting minutes for you from March 23rd. Right? Public comment. No public comment? Okay. Great. All right. Campus climate. Senator Khan.
I just wanted to say Ramadan Mubarak. Everyone celebrated because this is the first meeting. And I think it was good, helpful, restful, productive month. And if you see me eating in the corner, I'm sure I'm so hungry.
Said mine. Senator Klein. There you go.
Alright. So hope everyone is having a wonderful week. Great to see everyone here. Just wanted to share a couple of things. We still don't have a deal for the state budget, but like I said last time, keep calling your elected officials. Again, bail reform is what's holding it up, so make sure you guys advocate for your issues and make sure that they get it into the state budget. Also, really quickly, wanted to just share some positive news with everyone. As per Senator Butkus' post on Instagram, we found out that we got the school to spend over $8 million for renovations through the campus housing quality grants. And that is something that is huge, you know. $30K for water fountains in every hall, repairs to ceiling tiles, ceiling lighting on State and Colonial Quad, which is something that has been missing for years now. So much more. That's included in that, but the fact that we got the school to spend the $8 million finally to get up off their butts and do something about the housing on this campus, that's a major win. We ought to be proud of ourselves for that. That's something that passed through this body. Finally, I just wanted to address some concerns I've heard over the past few days, and without going too much into detail, we hear you, I hear you, certainly people in this body hear the concerns that students have had as it relates to a particular issue, and I hope we take action tonight. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to motion onto the legislative agenda a piece of emergency legislation called Addressing Election Fraud after the ethics recommendation.
Is it a move? Is there a second to that move? No second to the move? Would you like to see the bill before? That's a question.
I'll second it.
You want a second to move? All right. Is there a second to that move? Is there an objection to that move? No objection to the move? So interesting. No one was seconded, but no one was objected. That is very interesting to me. Yes, go on, Senator Ortiz. After the ethics violation. This body is amazing. All right.
Wait, I don't know.
With that, I'll
After-
give it back to the chair.
Yes, after ethics violation. All right. Senator Goldsmith.
Hi, everyone. I want to make this quick as possible. I want to say happy birthday to Courtney, first and foremost.
Yeah, we love it.
Secondly, I want to give everyone who won their elections a round of applause. It's not easy in this spring election. Good job first, everyone. And if you lost, there's always the fall next spring. So good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm seeing.
I love you all, and I want to say, please keep the positivity. It seems positive tonight. Let's try to keep the positivity as long as possible. And with that, I'd like to motion to add onto the floor bill number S 2122-177.
You have to, okay.
I just numbered it, that's why.
Well, no, I was going to say if you want to explain the sentence, but it's a second by Senator Crawford, any objections? That's what I'm saying. I thought people want to hear what it is.
Due to the nature of the bill, I do not know if I'm able to.
Yes, you can stay with the title of the bill.
Yes, go on, say it, Senator Goldsmith. Hey, let him talk. Let Senator Goldsmith. You have,
Yes, you can say.
say the name of the bill, Senator Goldsmith. Go on.
Recommendation for an impeachment hearing.
All right. That happened tonight. There was a second to it. Any objections to that? Wow. Okay.
Let's try to keep this as positive as possible.
Comedian Tim, I can't. That genuinely happy week. I can't. Oh, I can't. Oh, all
I
right.
yield to the chair.
Thanks for that. Senator Ortiz.
Okay, so first thing, I just want to know if anybody else thinks that Nick sounds like a 70 guy when he uses slang. I think. So, my other thing was, I just wanted to remind everyone that we're getting into registration season for those who are on e-boards or student groups. And, pre-registration is open, and that also means we're several elections. And the student organization resource centers send out an email at 9:11 a.m. with all the information. So don't miss out. Yeah, and they're great people. So if you ever don't know what to do, go follow Kim Osley. But yeah, so cool. And then on to note, yes, it's going to be a long-ish agenda, but try and stay positive. I am manifesting, not to think from some of things that I'm manifesting, if I she was here to agree with me that manifestation works. That we leave before like 11:30.
Those two bills say counter otherwise. Senator Rose.
Hi, everybody. Real quick, just want to remind everybody that we're here until April 27th, so you're still a senator, so have to come to the meetings. Your committee meetings too.
She's cowardly.
Well, somebody's coming to the Original Immigration Committee. Second, I want to give a big shout out to the Elections Commission for one of the largest elections ever. I know it was stressed and we're sorry, but we got through it over. Thank you. And yeah, I'm one of the sponsors for the feature recommendations, so I once again want to say, try to remain positive. We are all senators for now. Good night.
Good night. Good night. Senator Ross McGuire. Go ahead. Senator Ross McGuire, go ahead.
Hey, everybody, I just really quickly wanted to raise some awareness for another thing happening with the state's budget. So early intervention services is really desperately in need for increased salaries for employees for PI, because these are really vital services that help, children to be successful who have special needs. So it would be great if you would share some of this. It's the Kids Can't Wait New York State campaign. They are on Twitter and Facebook, and also you can call the governor to urge her to approve more money for these vital services. Thank you.
Any other public comment? I mean, not public comment. Senator Klein, we're going to pass the mic back to you.
Just really quick, I made an error earlier. I just want to also motion committee reassignment to go ahead of ethics recommendation, just so we aren't leaving committees without people and senators without committee.
Senator Goldstein, second. Any objections? All right. Until you're going to help me with this order when we get there. Thanks. Any other campus climate discussion? No? No? All right. Opening remarks. Okay, I did have a lot, well, not a lot to say, but a couple of things to say, and I'm wondering if I can work this given how this room is sitting out right now. For the budget, we signed an executive order, I think Senator Rose mentioned, to allow students to stay until April 27th. Thank you. It's been a long day. April 27th to allow senators to remain in their seats. And we did this for a couple of reasons. As the leadership decided, we haven't finished the budget yet. We haven't done town halls yet. Still a lot of things that senators need to do. Believe me, if we could have finished April 6th, I'd been out the door with the vice chairman over here. But, we cannot do that. We have a budget to do. Students need money. So I've asked you to stay. And that includes showing up. The fact, I think we may have had quorum tonight, but it took a while to get there. So please try to encourage your peers. I hate seeing these empty seats when we have a body of 50 senators. That is unacceptable to me. Please fill out the form that NYCHA sent around in order to get on the Senate Instagram. We want to highlight the work that you've been doing. John is on it, so please fill out that form to get there, get that done. You'll get a letter from the Vice Chairman and I probably by the end of this week or next week about detailing our next steps about how the rest of the semester is going to go. I think hopefully next week will be our first budget meeting. If we can get the appeals in that week, we'll do that budget meeting. The 13th will be the external, and the 20th will be the internal, and the 27th will be the last week to submit legislation, right? And that will be our last meeting. That will be where I give my farewell address, and the vice chair will maybe have some farewell words, and she'll just say bye, okay? And we move forward from there in general, right? Of course, a big congratulations to the Election Commission. Like they said, I think they did a really great job in facilitating this election. So I really do appreciate that. I did want to say a couple of words about the election in general. I'm glad it's over, for one. I definitely wanted, everyone is kind of, when one side, in a tough election like this, in a tough election like this, when one side loses, half the school's going to be upset, half the school's going to be excited, Everyone knows where my support lies, and I want to congratulate Chairman Thomas on a well hard-fought race. I think you did an amazing job, and I don't want you to feel that whatever the results may be, diminish the work that you've done. I am so very proud of you, not only as a friend, but as a brother of Phi Alpha Delta, that you made up to me very, very proud. I mean it from the bottom of my heart, right? I've spoken to the president, the new president-elect today, assuming this election is I've spoken to her about her steps in moving forward. And I definitely have told her that I pledge on May 4th to put a nomination to, assuming that this election is certified and made so. Because the job of the end of the day is governance, and we need to get to the work of student governance, So I want to let you know that in general, that I have spoken to her. That is about it for me in terms of my updates. Senator Rose?
I'm just gonna go. I thought it was like that we had to vote on the internal and external budget on the same day.
No, that's not normally how it does. One happens 1 week, the other one happens the other week. So you split it up. Obviously, the internal is not done because the president-elect must submit their budget to the board, right? I've spoken to Chairman Awapatu about this. They're trying to get this done in a timely fashion. The external, he's told me, is basically done, right? So we're waiting to get that next week, but the internal has to be approved, right? Any questions about that? Go on.
Do they have to be consecutive meetings? Or like for some reason the internal is not done, say for anything dealing with the election? Could we do external next week, legislation the 20th, and then internal the 27th? Or does it have to be back to back?
I don't perceive it has to be back to back. Precedent has dictated that it usually is back to back.
There's no rule.
But there's no rule. I would like it to be. I don't want to split up the budget, assuming the internal could get just the hardest part of the budget. Because it takes an input from the board, but also the president-elect. So if that takes longer than anticipated, then we will move it to the 27th. The 27th will be the last day for legislation. I really don't want to end the Senate meeting with a budget. I don't think that is fair to all of you. So I want to get it done by the 20th. Go on, I'm listening.
I'm so sorry.
Continue.
504.1.5, the Senate shall review the internal and external portions of the budget in one meeting.
I think what happens is they recess the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think what happens. They recess the meeting, right? Because you try to attempt both. External usually goes pretty quickly. Internal takes a while. So usually we only get to it in 2 meetings. But I think that's what happens. You recess the meeting and move forward. Good? So the clock.
Also, really quickly, it must be a stop clock.
Stop the clock. Sounds like a game.
State budget rules.
Yeah.
So with budgets and specifically appeals, we on the Constituent Relations Committee haven't heard anything yet about appeals. And as a member of the student group, we also haven't heard anything on our budget being approved or denied. So, do you know when those notifications are going to be sent out?
I believe the Board of Finance is setting out notifications to groups starting today. He has started that. And so you'll get that. My involvement form for the appeals is up and running now. So hopefully there'll be some advertising about that. We'll get John on that. That's the only thing that can delay this, right? Because technically it's open now. If depending on the amount of appeals we have, if we cannot get the appeals done next week Tuesday, then we have no choice, at least to hold off on the external, because we have to give students time to submit an appeal if they want to.
I got my email this morning about Nyland's budget, if that helps, like, timeline-wise, I think there might just be going one more.
Yeah, that's all right. Thank you.
Good. Any other questions for me? Okay, Vice Chairman. Come up here, Pizza.
First line of this is happy birthday, Courtney, and she's not here, so unfortunately, please let her know. No, she explicitly told us last week she did not want anyone to sing for her, so I've been going
Have
back
we
and
given
forth
people
on this all
choices
day.
the other time?
Oh, wait.
No, we We usually don't do English,
For her, she's
but
not
she explicitly asked. Okay, so for my opening remarks, I just wanted to say congratulations to everyone who ran in the race in any capacity, senator, presidential candidate, anything you ran for. I know myself, it's not easy, did it last year. It's a very difficult road to getting somewhere in SA, and I think that I commend all of you for your efforts. My second thing that I just wanted to share with you as sort of an update is that Janelle and I have published forms in the group chat for STOL for seniors. If you're graduating and you want STOL, please fill it out. Janelle and I are going over that stuff on Friday. So please make sure that you have that filled out if you want STOL for graduation. Also, with respect.
No.
With respect to attendance, I am really, really disappointed to not have the numbers that we need in order to get things done the way we need to get done. I'm a second term senior, I get it. Not exactly where I want to be on a Wednesday night, right? But we do have a job to do. It's an important one. We have a couple weeks remaining. We have student orgs that need their budget. We have to be a little bit more present here. Because, you know, when you sign an employment contract, you're there until your last day. Even after you've given your 2 weeks, you're still working the next 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I see this. Even though I'm graduating in a couple weeks, I still want everyone here. I still want everyone to at least finish out their term to the best of their ability. Also, Chairman Chin spoke on this issue a little bit, but in terms of extending the Senate terms, I just wanted to add one thing. Keep in mind, originally when we were supposed to come back for winter break, then, you know, that was on, I believe, the 20th, and we had an extra week of winter break. So it's not as though we're just kind of extending these terms indefinitely, right? It's not kind of a lateral move coming out of nowhere. Bylaws say 12 weeks. We're working with that deadline, that type of thing. And we do have a budget coming up. So please, if you see people in the room who are not here in the room tonight, reach out to them, tell them that they need to be here in order to be, you know, getting through these budgets in the next few weeks. And then we can all celebrate a job well done, right? So let's just get through the next couple weeks. Everyone will be here, be present, be voting. Yeah, I'm gonna end up there. Happy birthday, Courtney, again. Does anyone have any questions for me? Appreciate you.
Okay, certificates and celebrations, right? So we have 2 student groups today, so let me get out. Thank you. To go through this, yeah. So I'll start with the African Student Association. I'm pretty sure many of you know them. The purpose of the African Student Association is to promote friendship and mutual understanding among African students and all other interested persons. ASA aims to stimulate intellectual, social, and cultural advancement among its members and do all things necessary to project Africa in its true image. Additionally, the organization tasks itself with spreading awareness about the different ethnic and cultural groups in Africa and also aids in the elimination of stereotypes amongst all people. Although centered around all things related to Africa and the international diaspora, the African Student Association has opened its doors as a safe haven and family for all in the open community. So let's give them a round of applause. Are you coming up? Can you coming up? Great. So definitely, you got new this time. It's the. I'm giving you.
Thanks, guys. I mean, I know how hard it is.
Congratulations.
Yeah, of course.
Brothers next. So I'd like to nominate B2B for recognition as the only male empowerment organization on campus. They are the sole warriors in a desolate battle against social stigmas placed against men. They are also one of the most active organizations on this campus, regularly hosting weekly programs. Furthermore, in 2 years since being refounded, they have grown from about 10 members to about 100 members. Let's give them a round of applause. Andre coming up for both.
Hey, man, you know, gotta be active on this campus.
Okay.
There you go.
You love us so strong.
Wow. Let's give them a round of applause. Congratulations. My goal is to get to 10 student groups before the end of the year, to get close to there. Appropriations.
No.
173.
Love basketball, I do not do that. Okay, then I will do the film from the student. Guess marathon. Okay, so you guys have a marathon, great, this will focus, really fun. I'm gonna let it go.
So, yes, Marathon, we had our annual big event last weekend, and this money,
Can you not hear? Oh, thank you.
That's the staff.
Oh.
Super exciting. As of this Saturday, we've raised over $10,000 for an organization. I'm really proud that we raised over $5,000
We have
just
the
this
motion.
Saturday. So if you're interested in
Mhm.
So, if you'd like to. But yeah, this is our budget. And let's just do it.
Senator Thomas.
I like to move forward.
Senator Yeager, second. Any objections? Seeing no objections, we'll go into vote. Vote is open. Votes for these members on that. 32 on my mind. We are back below 4.
Meet the quorum, guys. And then we're ready, get your vote in.
Did everyone vote? We are below quorum right now.
Did anyone resign?
Resign?
Yes.
I'm not sure on that.
What?
I'm not sure on that. I'm not sure. Okay. One more? 130? Okay.
Because if anyone resigned, it would be 30 quorum.
Then count them. I think we have that. Yeah. Yeah. This bill passes 2405. It's 175.
Okay, next is Trader to Israel. Yes, this is for the student. $55 for a new hundred. I was wait for it. Right? Okay.
So we
to kind of bring a new light to Israel, because many people see a wrong image to Israel, so we are bringing a new light. So this past week, we had a speaker come in, tell us misconceptions about Israel. We have a massive event tomorrow, Israel Fest. So we're looking for one.
So Thomas, I'm going to call this a question. You need to call it still a question. No, tease at a second. 70 seconds. Any objections, Samuel? No objection. We're going to go into a vote. Good question. What was your club? We are not in public comment. We're not in campus comment. I will talk with you, but not in the middle of a vote. Not in the middle of the vote. I'm just going to dismiss it. That's not in the middle of the vote. Yeah. If I didn't say something. Okay. $20.08.
It's not quorum.
2208.
It's not like quorum. Did someone resign? Okay.
176.
Hi guys, so I'm the treasurer for the group, and we just had a case competition, and we wanted to award the winners of the competition. So it's just do this, and it's just the first of our new ones. So.
Questions? Senator Rose. Second, Senator Ortiz. Any objections? Going to vote. Oh, going to vote. Yes. Yes, Senator Ortiz. Yeah, we were counting those numbers. We were counting them. Right? I'll leave it open till 30.
Hey, Beauty, what's up?
Okay. Vote
I'm
is
doing
closed.
great. How are you?
2403. Go. Any others? Put those in. 2703. We're at 30. Still passes. Okay, is that all for folks?
Okay, so I just wanted to sort of talk about how my club, I feel like
Sorry.
like the people that I'm trusting to make sort of the change, like from the club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right then. Okay. I'll work with you on that one.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll work with you on that one.
All right, sounds good. Thank
No
you.
problem. Yeah, I still want to make sure you work. Ryan, is there a microphone you can give to? Senator Alpage, I'll let Alpage go first. What do you want Senator Alpage to?
All right, can I motion to move the Board of Finance report after his report, because I do have to step out?
The second, Pine second. Any objections? Any objections? No? Okay. Go on, Ryan.
Hi, everyone. So Senator Ortiz kind of stole my gig, but pre-registration for student organizations is open on my involvement. And so student organizations should be holding elections. And the faculty advisor session is, I think it's a Friday. Yeah, no, tomorrow, April 7th at 4 p.m. in Fort.
Any questions? Senator Alpage, Chairman Alpage?
Are you aware that everything you say can and will be recorded?
You say can, we'll do it again. Go on, Chairman. Go on, Senator. No, they wait. I think they have a question for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm waiting, yeah.
All right, good afternoon, good evening. Hello. All right. So, Board of Finance report, we did go over, budgets, obviously. We actually just finished the external budget and our organizations have been receiving the emails in regards of their allocation. So, the student leader, you're obviously going to be receiving those emails. They also have the ability to appeal as well. The appeals is going to be open from up until April 12th, 11:59 p.m. is what was sent out to the organizations, and they're able to appeal that way. Additionally, we also did go over some contracts and approve those, as well as some, I believe 5 came in with a PR that we had to take a look at, which we did, and we all agreed in favor of it. So if you have any questions, just let me know.
Senator Klein. And then on the microphone, so we
I'd
just
like to motion an elections commission report to immediately follow the current board of finance report.
are they? I was gonna say, because I know the election commission is required during election season.
Not according to the Senate Defender Reorganization Act, which states that the Senate can motion on a report from the election.
All right, then, I have no problem with this one, to clarify. Is there a second? Senator Khan, second? No. Is there a second? Senator TC, second? Any objections? All right, then. Go on. Did you finish your report? Okay. Any questions for Chairman Alberto, Senator Khan?
I just had a question, like somebody asked me a question about the PR thing. Was that like a very big amount or was that like $1 million?
Are you referring to the 5
The 5 thing, yeah. I don't know if you can answer that.
Can I answer that?
Okay, that's it. Okay. Somebody just asked me a question. I just like, it's not for you.
Yeah, so amounts that are over 8,000 have to be reviewed by the board. So if there's any submission or PR request that's over 8,000, the board can look at it to approve it or deny it.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
Catherine. I want to pass the microphone to the EC chairwoman.
Hello everyone, first of all, congratulations to all newly elected FA representatives. Even if you weren't elected right now, your campaign, you can still be immensely proud of, certainly being amazing to be part of that process for you. Today we obviously completed our last election, we had 992 votes in total, so that's pretty great considering, this is a quick turnaround for our general election. So yeah.
Questions? Senator Rose.
This is sort of like the thing that I saw in the results. So one candidate got 561, another candidate got 430, and that total is 992. So. Oh.
You can. That's interesting. Any other questions? No? All right. Chairman Thomas?
Good evening, I think.
Good evening, everyone. There's a bill on the floor from my 2 bills on the floor from the committee. Also, congratulations to the president on that. That's it.
Any questions? Chairwoman Yeager?
Good evening, everyone. My committee met last week, like I said in my report last week, about the legislation that passed last week. According to the bylaws, we can meet bi-weekly. I don't have any written conduct forms. If you would like to submit one, the forms are in my involvement. If you have any questions, let me know, and that's about it.
Any questions? None? Chairman Scampley? Oh, okay. So we can move on from Chairman Cooper? Oh, okay. Go, you can give the voice for now, yes, Senator.
Approach met, we voted, we gave out money. So we had
a supplemental and board when unfunded, but the supplemental, if you never a representative, will come back, and we have a couple of pending. Reminder, if you guys are in any streetlights, please submit those monthly, if there's money agent, with more, take your money. Like, please take your money. And also the supplemental, so, even though there's a line transfer, don't be fooled, there's still money, get your money, you still have time, you have 3 weeks.
Senator Klein.
Could you just, run through and tell us how much is left?
After the line transfer, tell you right now, we haven't submitted those numbers, because that, the number I can give you is not included yet. So, give me that.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I'll go back to teacher respectfully, you couldn't skip your report, so.
Hi, everyone. We are continuing investigations, and obviously we have a bill coming before us tonight, which will come out.
Okay. No, Senator Lacon, anyone here from CO? Senator Cog, nothing to?
You have a meeting that's in the process of being scheduled. It's just been expected. You don't know, like, you never went for the.
Yeah.
That's about it. So we just been communicating.
Okay. I know CEO's doing essay day, that's a big thing they're planning.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout for that, at least April 22nd, we're having essay day, right? You got a question? I believe it's in the afternoon, I believe it's like a 12 to 5 sort of thing, I believe. I think it's Earth Day, she said it on, or the big event, something like that. It's Earth Day, I think 19 one on Earth Day.
Yeah, that's my day.
So, it'd be a good fun event. Senator Martinez? Chairman Martinez?
Other than, well, first of all, could you correct me on the date for when we have the table, the next day we have the table, next week was the 12th or the 13th?
I believe the 12th. We're gonna try and get it on 12th, yeah.
So my committee has table set for the 12th. We've also been outside of meeting with Chairman, about appeals, and so we're doing that this coming week. Beyond that, if Liam hasn't reached out to you, if Liam hasn't reached out to you yet, he will within the next few days for those who are, living here.
Isn't it? Everyone's muted on. Yes. Oh. Continue. That's you.
If you're a living area senator and Liam hasn't reached out to you, he will within the next few days, so we can get those town halls going. Obviously, we're fighting the clock on that one. And I believe that is it. I mean, continue senator or recognition, we still have a few. And like I said, the Affordable Testing Act, we haven't had any attendance, still have 47 spots. We're graduating, we'll take that free break.
Questions? Senator Klein?
So how do we plan to promote these town halls if we are in office for 3 more weeks and fulfill that bylaw requirement? How do we plan on doing that?
As it stands, we currently have 3 weeks. It'd be very optimistic to say that we can have everything done by the weekend, have, it ready to be promoted and set up. But if that's unattainable, I know you were at our committee meeting, we were looking at potentially making a bylaw change just because, there's.
Go on, Senator Klein.
So what I'm trying, let me ask, why did it take so long? Why did it take us till 3 weeks left in our term with an extender on top to get town halls up and running this semester?
Well, as you may know, I did take up this position halfway through the semester. My meeting with the previous chairwoman was also delayed just because of our both of our busy schedules,
And it did obviously take me time to get acclimated. I only have access, the email, the CR email, I only had access to it for about a week and a half now, 2 weeks. And that's the delay, you could really just chalk it up to poor circumstances. However, obviously got the wheel rolling on that, so it was a time.
Any other questions? None for me. I mean, the executive committee meets regularly. We've reviewed the last resolution, reviewed a couple of things on the floor tonight. Still meeting till the last day of legislation. So, presumably, right? Go on.
Have you guys begun organizing transition binders?
That's something I was going to talk about in our next meeting. To do so. So we're working on that. That's on my to-do list. I wanted to do that on our last. Actually, I think I did mention that on our last executive meeting. Begin transition. So usually transition. I've asked when I was chair the last time that all of the committee chairs have to write up a letter of some student's successor. Right now, your predecessor. I have no control what happened last year, but that's what I've done, and I think that's what the committee should be doing. And I'm going to ask people to do that to me. To give your successor something to work on. Go on, Mr. Ortiz.
It's required executive directors.
It'll get done, Mr. Ortiz. I promise you that. Yeah, it'll get done. Anything else for me? Like I said, no control of the last chairman. Now, I'm not seeing many executive directors here, so I want to ask questions. Are they all written? Can we submit the written perhaps in a minute, or are you going to go through all of them and just read all the reports? Do you have all of them? Okay, then, all right. So, I will go. Since there's more written than in person, I'll let Maya. I'm sorry. I know I see two of you here. But I wanted to just make sure. Yes, that's fine.
I'd like to motion to have the directors that are here.
Go first? All right.
Second.
Second? All right. That's fine. Then that's how you. And
Yeah, Becca.
Hi everyone. As I mentioned last week, I am finalizing plans for Earth Week, this week-long event. So there will be more information coming out about that. There will be something like every day, Monday through Friday, different times to work with everyone's schedule. Yeah, that's about it.
questions? None? Thank you.
Hi everyone, happy Wednesday, as per usual. Nothing much to update going on, honestly. Okay, I'm just kidding. So next week, we're going to do you guys for a while. On the 14th at 7 p.m., I'm having a town hall with university admin. I was about I'd say 8 to 10 amazing administrators from the university coming to this. So I need a lot of y'all to come. So basically, this is going to be regarding the accessibility of campus. As you all know, I have a survey that I have been promoting all year. This survey yielded a lot of responses, and admin had questions. And we're going to answer those questions and ask your own when you buy. So we're going to be covering academics, housing, and of course, campus itself. Accessibility covers everything, every aspect of life. And accessibility means that, for disabled students, they have to be able to access education as long as they're able bodied. And admin wants to talk to you what they're doing about that, to follow the ADA guidelines. So make sure you're there. There will be food at 7 p.m. Thursday, April 14th. And if you have questions, write them. Admin's happy to answer them. And please come. I have a lot of chairs that I have questions. I'd like to have a little please. Thank you. And just a reminder, if autism is up to fund, legally you have to mention me. Thank you. And also today marks the 45th anniversary of the beginning of the 504 Texas Pension System. For those of you that don't know what 504 is, it's law that states that any institution that receives federal funding cannot discriminate against disabled individuals. Without 504, I wouldn't be in this room today. Without 504, the university could say, oh, you're disabled, you can't come here. But thanks to 504, I get to be in this room, and I get to be with all of you, and I get to know you. 45 years ago, it's not that long ago, most of our parents are older than 45. So that gives some perspective. This is recent history. And this recent history paved the way for disabled rights. And now, more than ever, we still have a long way to go for disabled Americans and disabled individuals all around the world to feel like they are viewed as equal as those that may not have disabilities. I have been disabled my entire life, and I'd like to see a lot more change come before I leave this earth. So I hope you all can help me in that. And reminder again, it's Autism Acceptance Month, so be nice and do look at the infographic that my team and I worked on Instagram and see what you can. Thank you all, and I expect to see you all there on the 14th. Sorry, there's Dr. Andrew, who's that I am totally accomplished with timeline. So if you could put 2 links for you and support that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Am I already using mine?
Hello, so I'm starting with my report, in which I've been helping all the directors come up with programs and events for the rest of the semester. And we've also been working on Park Fest, which is happening in May 1st. So stay tuned for that. Very exciting. And just pretty much working on all of the big events. I'll lead into the different directors' reports, starting with programming. So she says, hello everybody, our department has two tabling events planned. One will be on Earth Day where they will be giving out plants, and the other one will be with it's an Easter egg hunt around the campus. Aside from that, they're working on other programs that will be coming up soon.
I'm going to ask the questions at the end of all of the reports. Just to let you guys know.
With ICA, she has been working on Social Carnival, and she's also working on a few other programs to collab with the different organizations on campus. For Student Group Affairs, Purple and Gold Awards will be happening tomorrow. Congratulations to any senators who have received an award. And if you are a part of the award and you are receiving recognition, congratulations as well. She hopes to see you all tomorrow evening. Also, for those receiving the President's or Spelman Award this weekend, she says congratulations for that as well. And please say hi if you see her. For community engagement and outreach, she says, hello everyone. I hope that you all are having a great week. Sorry that she could not be in attendance. She has previous obligations at 9 p.m. that she has to fulfill. Once again, a lot of fun news about the big event. She's planning a 3 essay champion event, one event in which she'll be writing letters to go with blankets that she will be donating, another in which she will be making supply bags for those in need, and the last day being on a campus cleanup. All branches and members of the Student Association are highly encouraged to participate, so she hopes to see you all there. And also additionally with Flag Squad, she's planning a large donation drive where she will fill up an ambulance with donated medical supplies for the crisis in Ukraine. So please hit her up if you want to be involved with that. Academic Affairs, she says, good evening everyone. She's terribly sorry that she cannot be in attendance tonight. She is hosting the interfaith event Queer to Still Spiritual, allowing a space for LGBTQ plus healing power and healing and empowerment. Her department is busy as always, and she's connecting students to academic resources. She has an upcoming event on Monday, April 11th at 8 p.m. in the Campus Center Multi-Purpose Room. It's an alumni panel discussion on how to advocate for more social justice within STEM and business majors. Feel free to pop out with free food, and she hopes to see you all there. In the next few weeks, she'll be having an event with Percy to connect students with undergraduate research opportunities and just to have research on your radar. There's a conference coming up at the end of April. Minerva Awards are also open until Friday, so be sure to apply. Also, the Affordable Testing Act Scholarship is still open as well up until April 29th. And these are amazing opportunities, so please take advantage. You know, she always ends off with a quote, so to spread a little kindness today, reach out to those around you and check in, and be sure to check in on yourself as well. Sorry, I can't see if there's more.
Okay. Any questions? Did you give your opinion? All right. Any questions about any of that? The chief said she had no report to me. The comptroller, you have your mic open.
I just totally like, hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. Oh, last week you all passed a bill to transfer 5,000 into the minimum funding board, so I just wanted to let you know that that's been completed. So I moved the money. Yeah, put your skull orders in.
Oh, yeah.
And Park Fest is on May 1st. No further questions on that.
Who's coming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually it's a singer.
It might be around.
Somebody gave his report. Okay, legislative agenda. Got there rather quickly. So.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh.
I have an addition. I'm sorry.
I thought you were
I did want to add that the applications for comptroller and deputy comptroller have been opened by Board of Finance. So if anybody has any questions about the role, let me know. I can help you.
You're leaving us already?
Ready?
I'll cry. What are we starting with? Any questions for the comptroller? I wanted to look. I know there's a bill that was before this one, so I wanted to look what bill it was.
It was only after things got added to the end.
Oh, so nothing moved in front? Oh, okay. I thought something moved in front. Then, oh, okay. All right then. Madam Vice Chair, you're gonna step up. Is it weird?
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible.
I went to Kex.
All right.
All right.
I gotta listen up to this.
Yeah. Good morning, guys. Go ahead.
Hi guys. First off, congrats, you're in history. It's Karen from your Bowler. So basically what this is, earlier in the year, Nathan Gibb presented the Legislative Organization Act and how legislation gets submitted. This is just kind of cleaning that up after speaking with other senators and speaking with the clerk. There's been a lot of like issues between the Senate back, sending it here and there and there. It gets like 5 different sends before it hits the board. So what we ended up doing was how it'll work now. This won't go into effect until the fall, just because there's 3 weeks left to sit on a whole bunch of 3 weeks there. So that's the first thing. The other thing, how it works. So it does change when minutes are available for inspection. Instead of being like the day after, to kind of ease up on the push of it, it'll be that they get presented with
within 24 hours prior to Sunday, so when the agenda comes out, the meeting, the minutes and previous minutes available for inspection. So they'll be sent to the Senate, 24 hours before, the clerk will send them to the chair 48 hours before the meeting. If that makes sense. So 2 days before clerk sends them in, 1 day before chair sends them to the Senate. How legislation will be submitted? It'll go from the sponsor will send it to whichever committee they want to be presented to. So say you're doing something that's gonna help engage the community, the sponsor will send their bill to CEO. From there, whether or not the bill passes or fails, the chair of that committee will send it to the clerk. The clerk will number it. If it passes, it will be sent from the clerk to the chair of the Senate to be put on the agenda. If it fails, it will be kept in an archive and be brought up by several majority votes. The point of this is that everything is organized like the original intent of LRO, and that everything has a number regardless of pass or fails. But B, it stops the going to the clerk, back to the chair, back to the clerk, and it gives the sponsor a little more freedom and where they want to let legislation go. The other thing for contextual fixes, things don't go through fixes. That is they go through a committee. They do have to go through a committee. It does not have to be executive. They can go through more than one committee, and it is at a committee discretion. If they feel that it has to go through a committee, the committee can vote, and it must go through a committee. The committee goes on. If that makes sense. Yeah, okay.
It's not how mentioning works.
But as a co-sponsor, I really don't have much to say. I think the T is kind of what I was going to say. You know, the individuals kind of left it in the organization after trying to clean things up. And definitely, I've heard some things about it, the system, having it, go to the clerk and then, having it come to me and after the committee chair. So once T what I did me, I was open to it. I wanted to make some convention more efficient. That is always my goal as the chair to make us more efficient. And I don't care where that idea comes from. As obviously, I was first and only bill. I'm talking to the T's, and I'm glad to see that we can work together on something. And I'm proud of the bill. And so I urge that we pass it. I think it's a good step to the next year. It'll make the next year's chair job easier.
The sponsors yield for a question.
Yeah.
So really quickly, 203.1.5, would you be willing to do an amendment that fixes the fact that there is a period before your time and so in the first sentence? Senate clerk, period.
Oh, sure. Can you please take out the period after this? I moved to amend.
You don't need a move, just amend.
Or, why won't it let me do it? Because Nick's old and his Microsoft expired.
He's no longer attending the
He no longer attends the university.
Yeah, you submitted this thesis, and you really said peace out, huh? All right. So, imagine it's not there. Senator Martinez? Oh, sorry. Senator Martinez, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, Senator McGrath, you go first.
In 203.1.6.4.1.1, what do you mean by if you motion not to be agenda by 2/3?
2/3 is supposed to be
Took it out. So just
stricken out.
yeah.
Sorry, that was a reminder to us to ask the committee if they preferred 2/3 or simple. So I'd like to say again, take out 2/3.
Okay, so 2/3 will be stricken through on the finalized version as well.
Just so you know, like, I'm not.
Whatever Nick gets the most assigned, will be amended.
Because those will just be amended on the floor, because I can't do them.
No, that's fine, as long as the move is in the minutes, that's fine.
Senator Goldsmith? Oh, Senator McGrath, are you done? Okay.
Motion to call this bill to question.
I have a motion to call this vote to question, seconded by Senator Scantile. Any objections to that move? Senator Klein, you object?
Two things.
Okay. Do you have a question?
Yeah, the sponsor will. So back to 203.1.5, that's supposed to be and as well, I believe, not the Senate clerk, you by committee. And
Sure.
Okay.
And B, no, I wanna add and B. Oh, yeah.
Yes, Senator Klein.
Let's move into debate.
Okay. There's been a motion to go into debate. Is there a second to that move? Senator Martinez seconds that move. Any objections? We're now in debate. Any debate points? Senator Klein, go ahead.
So really quickly, exec, I love you guys, but I did tell this body back when this bill first got put on as the 1.0 version, that resolutions going through the executive committee might not be the best idea, and we all were kind of just like, meh, and now here we are changing it again. So I just want to say that I did mention this back when this got put up, and I will move to call this a question.
Second, can we stand for the objection? None? We're gonna go into a vote.
Wait, I read. I need to strike out the T in the, there's too many T's.
Oh. And the B.
And the B, the T in the, and the B in the.
Can we just amend it to reflect transparency? Wanna send the motion real quick?
What? Okay, so do you want to just motion to make it reflect transparent as possible?
Yeah.
I'm sure that this is just thanks to Microsoft Word acting up.
I also see it with exec, resolutions executive committee not being crossed out, 203.1.6.4.1.
Okay, I'd like to move to have it reflect transparent. It will reflect the transparent editing policy. Yes, Senator Goldston.
All questions.
Okay, second, Senator Thomas, objections. I'm gonna clarify the vote. A, you're gonna pass this bill. B, if you don't. C, is abstain.
Thank
William said I on the
I wrote this bill. I will give.
I wrote this bill.
I will give it to
They put his name on
I
it.
will give it to
Four more eyes. All right, I'm closing this.
I give you all the credit.
Last chance in closing it. Okay. You didn't stop.
You didn't stop my question.
Who said that?
Chairwoman, did you get my vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Chairwoman,
All right. Yeah, this bill passes. The final vote count is going to be 30-0-3.
What?
Great, so awesome.
You told us.
I'm so happy. It was so late.
But, wait, is, Senator Khan, your original move is just to move it before, ethics, right, not to move it to the top?
All right, Senator Madeline, Senator Mindor, Senator Mohammed, if y'all want to come up. So it's like, we forgot we have to fill in the floor.
Like you said, she checked out.
Thesis is in.
My thesis is in, E minus, I'm done. No more.
C's got degrees. A minus is certainly do.
Did he?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're on the floor.
So really quickly, we have the Unification Act. Basically, the point of this bill is that whenever the university is going to be trying to implement some sort of emergency restrictions and mandates on undergraduate student population at the school, that they notify in some way. And then also with the bill, if you go down to the therefore be resolved section, you'll see we'll be able to basically giving our opinion, which isn't really something anything, but we'll still have our opinion and our say, just to say what the student body feels about the restrictions and mandates, just some things on what I think that should happen is, especially last year, something that I felt was kind of crazy was the closing of the dining halls. First day, changed the meal plan policy, completely removing the unlimited flex from a whole freshman population. And then they straight up closed the dining hall. So I think that was crazy. None of the students were ever asked about that, but it affected a lot of us. So this would help prevent stuff like that.
I think goal here in that process, everyone in school ever made a decision that you like, and you wish you had something. Or you could poll here, the school administration ever did something you like, you wish you had saying that, please raise your hand. So, in theory, so taxes, we can all do something about it, or the school has final say without getting students.
Right here, right here.
I think we could look at this stuff for you.
I don't really have much to say other than, we are here for the students of the school, we can advocate for the students and we're the voice for them, so, for the university, but administrators want to put something in place, I think they should at least consult, with us and, let, them, we should give them our opinion on what we think about, whatever possibly trying to pass.
Senator Wells.
I love the idea. I love the idea. So my question is, if the university decides not to notify us at all, isn't this bill technically disqualified? If we pass this and you want them to notify us, they just choose not to, how do we enforce that?
You don't, but the resolution, I mean, there's many different resolutions being passed, they don't want to listen to the resolution, they don't have to. But that's what us, the students want.
So my question is, so in what you want them to notify us, is this explicitly in regards to COVID mandates, or is this like any mandate? Like if they start mandating that we, I don't know, all show up to class wearing blue on, or pink on Wednesdays? Like is that, I guess my question is this a COVID thing, or is this like any kind of mandate?
One, COVID is, I mean, we all have our masks off, so I don't think it should be about COVID. Secondly, it doesn't say explicitly anywhere that it's about COVID restrictions, it's about emergency restrictions and or mandates, just like this.
Is responsibility to follow up?
Yeah.
So, why are you laughing? So my question is, how do you, as the sponsor, how do you say a lot of bills happen and nothing, they don't go anywhere? How do you, if you feel so passionate about this, intend on following up with legislation to ensure that the university keeps moving?
For one, I'd just like to go back to the first question on, like what this means if the administration just doesn't do this for us. Us passing this, I feel like we just have to make it known, let the administration know that we as students want to have a say in what is going to happen to us. I don't know if you feel the same way, but that's what I feel. If the administration doesn't want to do that, I feel like we should say something about them not wanting to tell us about how they're going to make us do, how they're going to force us to act. So it's as simple as that, really. Yeah, we should have a say in how.
Senator Khan. Sorry, then we'll go to Senator McGrath.
I'll just sponsor Jill for a question. I might be confused, because like, that's why this body exists. Like, I guess what I'm asking is, what does this bill do differently than what we do here every Wednesday night, or in theory do here every Wednesday night of passing bills and such together policies as well?
Whenever we pass any resolution, it's showing, well, what we're supposed to do in general, as senators, as elected officials in this body, we're supposed to represent the students. So our votes are supposed to mean something, when we vote on legislation. So that's what that means. Secondly, it will be up to us and, our Senate leadership to make sure this gets followed up on. I've worked with administration in the past. I have good relationships with people in administration. I don't see this being roadblocked in any way.
Okay, Senator McGrath? Yep. You can come back to Mike down, Senator McGrath.
So administration makes these sort of decisions a lot of times when the student association is in Senate and can't sort of vote on this. Do you think this would be better suited to not just student association, but to like a committee, like a small randomly picked student committee that could advise with the student association because they can't make decisions after the administration is deciding if they can or not in session?
This is what we're doing, we're passionate versus taking that case and say, this is our idea, what do you think about it? We agree with it, so if we don't agree with it,
I don't know exactly which bylaw it is, but there's a bylaw that states we have the ability to work, like, act in official SA capacities when we are like on breaks and stuff. SA has met and has met over the summer for meetings, especially with stuff like cabinet appointments. So I don't see that being an issue.
Senator Cotton?
May I be recognized for a motion with the preface?
Go on, Senator Klein.
So to preface my motion really quickly, we've seen a bill similar to this come up about 3 times now, and this is probably the best version that we've seen. And honestly, it's something that recognizes that the student association has power and should be consulting with administration on decisions affecting our constituents. So with that, I'm going to motion to pass this by unanimous consent.
A lot of people just laughing this evening, and I love to see it. I love to laugh. Laughter is a good form of relief, you know. I love to laugh, so. Cut it out. We need a good laugh. Senator Klein motion to pass by unanimous consent. Is there a second? There's a roll call second in that, huh? Okay, so those are second it. So that's by unanimous consent. Any objections?
Point of personal privilege, Mike.
Thank you. They do your objection.
Clearly, this is not a unanimous decision, there's a lot of questions, I feel like it's just like a normal vote. So, just because I feel like a lot of people have opinions on this one, that isn't the same.
Yes.
If someone objects to it,
You're right. It's not unanimous, yeah, I know.
There's no state the nature of it.
Yeah, so go to call this bill to question. Right, yeah.
Wait, if there's a motion like
Yeah.
that,
I'll motion that, I'll just my motion to move into debate since, with recognizing Senator Khan first.
I don't have a.
you don't get to.
Call the question, right? Is it second to that? So it goes for second to that? Any objections? Vote is open. A, if you want to pass this resolution. B, if you do not, and C is abstain. I love it, you know. I really do. All right, everyone vote at 24.
How many you have? I really just can't wait anymore. Just go ahead and handle it.
How many votes do we have?
I know.
I'm just- The vote is closing now.
Two more ayes and one more abstention.
Okay. So the vote is, can you take this vote down for me? The vote is 23-5.
Hold on.
So the bill passes. Yes. Congratulations.
Am I taking down all these votes? Which bill is it?
No, I'm just asking you now because the clerk has stepped away for a moment.
23-5? That's not quorum.
23-5. Right? Okay. Who's trying this? Are you? Oh.
I didn't think we stand that easy until you fix that.
We're gonna be here a while. Like,
All right. How about this crazy?
So why don't you do it, General?
Hey,
Do it.
just stop.
Recess till May 15th.
Yes, 15. Let's suspend all SA operations.
So, Chairman Thomas, are you chairing this bill, right?
I guess so.
Point of inquiry, really quickly, since this does deal with Chairman Thomas's committee getting a new member, wouldn't it go down in the line of succession?
Wait,
I kind of want to see where this goes. I want to see how far down we could go.
technically.
No.
You can say about that?
Yeah, so any kind of committee reassignment affects members in the body. That doesn't mean that members in the body can't vote on it, chair it, or whatever. That is the decision of the body about how committees do. They don't affect any one member more than any other member, even if they are a member being switched.
All right. Thomas?
Doesn't matter.
I was just about to say that. We're just gonna move to amend Senator Loretti's name.
Yes.
Sorry.
Sorry, I apologize.
The response is either present this or we've seen a couple of things before. That's where we are now. Really, you guys know what this is. I don't feel much explaining. Can we get this time down I'm changing some things up? Why not? Like, nothing much to say about that one. Go on, Chairman Thomas. Senator Goldsmith?
Can we pass this point?
Wait.
Okay, I was saying that.
Senator Rose?
My question is, there is a member being put from rules and administration. There was a member that was removed from rules and administration. Where is that member gone?
This is a question.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I hope he has a great answer for it. I think the answer is satisfactory. I haven't asked her if she's being moved. I don't know. The member that moved is being that senator. She sent in her letter of resignation, so I'm assuming she's not senator, so therefore I'm going to move forward with this. All right? Okay. Senator Yeager? There's been a move to split. Wait, how do you want to express your bill?
I would like to separate the committee on appropriations.
I second that objection.
Wait.
Objections don't get seconded.
Wait. It was no second. But with that being said, is there a second to that motion? All right, fine. Senator Goldsmith. So there's been a move to pass this by unanimous consent. Is there a second to this?
Never mind. Let's do a previous question. Call for a vote.
There's been a move to call this the question. Is there a second? Chairman Scantley, is that a second?
Any roll call.
Why? You do know it needs five of the people. There's been enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Can you state out loud what those names are, please?
Okay, I'm gonna start from this side of the room and work my way over. I'm gonna say everybody's name. Senator Tuck, how do you vote?
Wait, no.
I meant the names of the people that seconded the five that he did.
Oh, wait.
You
Wait.
I was like, yeah, you just picking on people, like, no warning, no nothing.
Klein, Muhammad, Madeline, Yates.
Slow down.
One was Senator Muhammad, two was Chairman Skipperly, three was Senator Rose, four was Senator Crawford, and five was Senator.
Well, you need 4 seconds. You need one motion, 4 seconds. You need 5 people total.
Yeah. You got the name.
Klein, Muhammad, Scamperly, Rose Crawford.
Okay, can I take a breath?
No group me, no list, just vibes, that's where we're going.
I think just fine.
Like,
That's
you're just
fine.
gonna go around
All right. There are no rules that needs to be alphabetical or anything. You can go.
Please go slow, like, seriously.
All right.
So what do you-
You know, I'm gonna make it easy to go by group, all right?
Hey,
All right. Senator Yeager.
okay, I'm gonna step out while this is happening.
Senator Crawford. I think I'm that guy's gonna chair. I'll be secretary. Chairman Scamperly, how do you vote? Aye. Skipping Ronnie, secretary. Senator Middendorf. Aye. Senator Ortiz. Senator Harper is not here. Senator Azadon, can you please email your votes?
Oh, no, she's texting it to me, I got it. I'll read it out so it's a roll call.
Andrew, who's the first person?
Can you just, reshare the screen so we can go on Zoom?
The first one I started was Oh. Let me go back around real quick.
I got Yeager, Crawford, Scamperly, Middendorf, Ortiz.
Chichi, if you hear this, can you please, type if you vote and give a second? Thank you. Senator Muhammad.
Okay.
Senator McLean. Senator Cook.
Aye.
If Senator Deloach is here, can you just send your voting, please? Senator Khan.
Aye.
All right.
I apologize, I feel like Danny was connect.
All right. Senator Algate isn't here. Senator McGrath. Is Senator King here? All right. Senator Wu. Senator Sadler, can you send your voting, please? Senator Rose. Aye. Senator Kenny. Aye. Senator Ross McGuire. Senator Martinez is out. Yeah. Senator Cooper. Senator Ali.
Point of personal privilege, I didn't hear the last time of this vote.
It was in there. Senator Vikes, can you please send me your vote as well?
I have it, tonight.
All right. Senator Maha? Yeah. Oh.
Well, your last name is not good,
Senator Velez Kavan isn't here. Senator Sauer? Senator Hickman isn't here. Senator Yates? I don't think Senator Diallo is here. Senator Carr?
Yellow? Yeah, not everyone.
I don't think Senator Carr is here. I'm sorry. So sorry. Senator Jamil? Senator Khan? Senator Howard Speaks to left. Senator Boblin? Senator Tracy? Senator Tatawala? I don't know if this person is senator anymore. Senator Goldsmith? Aye.
Senator McGuire. Madam Vice Chair, how do you vote? Senator Al-Didi, can you send me your vote, please? Senator Martinez, the other Senator Martinez isn't here, and I'm done testing. I abstain as well. I mean, I vote aye, I'm sorry. I vote aye. You chairing? I'm not chairing at the moment, so I'll go aye.
I did not. I did get, from Senator Al-Didi that.
Is he in the group me? That's what I was saying, I think so. Senator Loretti, how do you vote? What's the total count for that argument? All right, right now the total is 17 ayes, 5 nays, and 9 abstentions. We don't count the abstentions, but I don't think that should be too good, but it is. Yeah. 77.2. Oh, wow. Okay, so that means the bill passes. Senator Klein is on that.
Point of information. So, considering there was a nay vote, on that bill, I would like, if Senator Cooper could please explain the reason for her nay vote.
Senator Klein, please. Please, Senator Klein, please. That is please, Senator Klein. Thank you. Okay. What's the next bill? Ethics? All right. Senator Rose, considering the nature of this bill, I'd like to move into executive session. We're gonna move to, including, a graduate. Yes, it's gonna move to go into executive session. Is there a second? Did I move? No, TV second to move? Any objections to that move? To go into executive session? Yeah. Chairman Scamperly objects. Listen? All right. Okay. Okay, just say yeah. Come on now.
Oh, we going to exec now?
No.
Okay, I'm just gonna amend on the floor that I will not be a sponsor of this bill.
There's a bylaw problem with that.
Is there?
Yeah.
Do not tell me this is my bill.
No, it's not. No, the chair of ethics is required to be presenting the bill. Yeah.
So, if there's a conflict of interest from the chair, the same way if you were investigating the chair, because it gets knocked down because.
Well, I suppose the job of chairing then technically moves forward. However, tell me, is this a situation where the chair had to recuse himself?
Yeah. That's why.
In that case, it moves forward. Okay? So whoever's next in line for that goes.
She's not here.
Okay. Can I ask that there be a motion to suspend that bylaw
I will make that move.
I can find you the exact number of it, but the bylaw that states that the chair shall be presenting.
So moved.
There's a move to suspend the bylaw, this is a second, let's, any objections? Seeing no objections to the bylaw suspended. Listen then,
There's staff meeting. So from what I understand, last session, Senator Hartford was the sponsor and she can still be the sponsor even though she's not here because that was the co-sponsors. This was the last session is followed and she doesn't have to be present and it doesn't go to
Right, however, that bylaw was suspended, so technically, we're not required to have either of them sponsor. Yeah, that bylaw's been suspended, we're fine.
you leave, I leave. That's exactly how it goes. Y'all good? To present, I'm gonna take a seat. Thank you. Good. We need. Right, all right.
How's it going, everyone? Okay, so violation number 2.
I didn't talk about the multiple choice one.
And the vote one. Okay. Perfect. Wait a second.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's this one. Man. Yep. All right, so these are the bylaws that were violated. 701.1.5, adhere to a high standard of business and government ethics and not seek competitive advantage through unlawful, corrupt, or unethical business practices. 701.1.11, no student association official shall disclose any confidential information whatsoever or use confidential information to further their personal interest or the personal interest of others. 701.1.15, all student association officials shall hold the code of ethics to the highest possible standard and abide by it to the best of their abilities. So this is the background. The ethics subcommittee questioned person X and person Y for an alleged ethics violation. During each of these questionings, person X and Y were told before proceeding in accordance with proper protocol. We were in executive session. With this said, during the investigation, a lawsuit was filed and has yet to be finalized. The lawsuit states, during the questioning of several of the above mentioned individual text messages, correspondence was pulled up as evidence of statements made by some of the above senators. When asked who the investigation was into or what bylaws were being investigated, the committee denied any responsibility to share that information. Not every person named above was called into questioning pertaining to this investigation. Furthermore, no questions were asked regarding explanations or contact of the text. The above individuals were accused of sending justification 701.1.5, adhere to a high standard of business and government ethics and not seek competitive advantage through unlawful, corrupt, or unethical business practices. Here the key words are competitive advantage through unlawful, corrupt, or unethical business practices. Person X and person Y were clearly speaking about executive session questioning pertaining to an ongoing investigation involving themselves. They were speaking with each other and sharing information / questions as to collude and file internal forms against the committee as a whole with the goal of having the investigation dropped altogether. Their end goal and sole purpose was to have the ethics committee stop doing their job. To conclude, they worked together corruptly / unethically / unlawfully, sharing executive session information to seek an advantage by having an investigation frozen, temporary injunction, and ultimately thrown out. And that was it. Oh no, I'm sorry. Okay. Justification 701.1.11. No student association officials shall disclose any confidential information whatsoever or use confidential information to further their personal interest or the personal interest of others. Person X and person Y were clearly using confidential information that was from executive session to further their personal interest and personal interest of others. The only way each individual under the investigation would know what questions were asked and who was asked, but specifically would be if they were speaking about it outside of the executive session. During the questioning of several of the above-mentioned individual text messages or message correspondence was pulled up as evidence of statements made by some of the above. How would they know this? How would they know who saw text messages? Furthermore, no questions were asked regarding explanations on contact of the text. The above individuals were accused of sending, how would they know what questions were asked to each person? Not every person named above was called into question pertaining to the investigation. How would they know who was called in and if it involved this investigation? The only obvious answers to all these questions is that they were clear conversations occurring about confidential investigations. Before proceeding, it is evident that we take note to the fact that even person X and person Y submitting this lawsuit together shows that they were conversations about, at the minimum, what the two of them were asked in the executive session. They clearly shared this information with each other as they were both together suing the ethics committee. Justification 701.1.15, all student association officials shall hold the code of ethics to the highest possible standard and abide by it to the best of their abilities. Person X and person Y are in violation of this. Do you guys want me to continue to read or? Okay.
I have a point of order.
Yes.
Hang on. Wait.
I was not really comfortable. All right.
I'm sorry for that.
Okay, I'm listening. Point of order.
So my point of order pertains to what was just mentioned. So Supreme Court proceedings are public and public information. And if we're going to be mentioning that people filed a lawsuit, that completely gets rid of anonymity as it relates to the ethics bylaws. So my point of order pertains that this presentation just violated the confidentiality bylaws as it relates to keeping person X and person Y. So this is just illegal now. We know who it is.
To say it's okay. All right. So what's the no guidance on this one?
Yeah.
I know ruling point of order. I definitely want to hear from the Muslim because I'm unclear about this aspect of this. I definitely want to hear. I think the chairman of ethics has something to say. I want to hear what he has to say. And then I'll come back to you. But
Don't read the violence, just read the explanation. Okay, but I felt like it was almost this all over again, reading everything.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing at a time.
Does the court have multiple cases open?
One at a time, please. One at a time. Go on.
The court can have multiple cases open simultaneously, and there was no specification on if this one is the most recent one, the latest one, what it is. All it's saying is that there was a lawsuit filed, and I can tell you in the time we're in, there's definitely more than one lawsuit filed right now. And I'm sure Chief Justice Barbara, no, there's not, and I can test it out of my head. So.
Yes,
So I believe if the Chief Justice is here, or if anyone on the court is here, and can attest to if there's multiple lawsuits open, as far as we don't know as senators whether or not there's multiple lawsuits open.
Which keeps this anonymous is the
Which
point.
keeps it anonymous.
That makes sense to me.
But I also understand if there's only one, so it's like.
But we don't know.
We just don't know.
No, so it's kind of.
Are we gonna text to the chief justice on this?
No, actually, the point is we don't know, and that's what keeps it anonymous.
Yes, Cheryl Yeager, yeah. Someone get a microphone here, too. Where's the closest one? Thank you.
Okay, my point of inquiry is, anywhere within the ethics or Mufasa bylaws, does it explicitly state that the ethics committee can't make any, I don't know, investigations or anything pending a court case?
Nick.
Does that make sense? Or do you want me to?
No, absolutely, it doesn't say anything about it. More so, specifically, this case, nothing was revealed in this presentation about who it is. I have no idea who it is because I was never in the ethics meeting. There are multiple cases that could be open as far as we know. So there's nothing that says who it is. So therefore, no confidentiality has yet to be violated.
Yes.
I would like to make sure that everyone keeps their sound effects on the video itself. Because there's a reason we're discussing this, and respectfully, there's so much going on, I don't need sound effects. I watch cartoons, I love that.
Okay. I understand that. Go on, Senator.
So I guess my question would be, I thought about there being multiple lawsuits, but that there was specific wording from a specific lawsuit used if it's powerful, and that is public. So once the petition becomes public, everyone's gonna know who this is going to, because you use specific wording, so that it's really possible.
Yeah,
So
go
I guess
on.
my question is, does that stay confidential?
Nick, no.
Parliamentarian answer for me. Chairman Thomas.
My point of inquiry is, if there's anyone based on something that was used in the committee, shouldn't they be able to speak about what the hell is about why they, come up with one of those things?
Nick, can I say something
Come,
else?
yeah, just stand right here now.
Okay.
Please, just come right here. So I'm deferring to you all the time, just come right here.
So,
He does do that too, actually.
to answer all of those questions by confidentiality put together, suppose future information does come out, which does reveal who this may be, that would then become potentially maybe a problem of confidentiality. At the moment, that is certainly not a problem, since no information here tells you who it was yet. That's the only reason why it does not yet violate any confidentiality. That's not to say that in the future it can, but if it does, that's a problem that you should handle in the future, not right now, not here in this meeting.
So I just have a clarification question. Has there been any form of publicized information from the court regarding any lawsuit? Is anything public whatsoever?
I have not.
Or is anything susceptible to request? Nope, you have to answer first.
As far as I know, and from my talk with the Chief Justice, the court hasn't really been doing much. This semester in general. And the main lawsuits that have been involved in this branch. But, so as far as my knowledge, no. So yeah, that's my answer.
And it's not susceptible for request.
That would be a later problem as well.
That'd be a chief question. Listen, Senator Klein.
Do the bylaws not explicitly state that any single time a lawsuit is submitted to the Supreme Court that is sent to the president and Albany student press? Do our bylaws not say that?
Again, that is something that if you believe that has been violated, that can be taken up with the appropriate body for that. However, that does not invalidate what's happening in this room currently.
I appeal the decision of parliamentarian on that one. Hey, folks, okay, before the accent comes out, shut up. Coolest. Question was, what decision did I make that you're appealing? I'm appealing parliamentarians.
I don't make a decision, I give advice. I give advice.
He said what he believed. I did not make a decision. When I make a decision, then you could go ahead and appeal. What's going on?
Are lawsuits per our bylaws not sent to the Student Association President and the Albany Student Press?
Yeah, I'm inclined to believe they are. And?
So then, going back to my point of order that I made earlier, this information has been made public since it's pertaining to a lawsuit. Members of this body and outside of this body can infer through those documents that have been sent to the Albany Student Press who this is or whom this may be right now. So this makes this presentation of the bill wholly illegal and a breaking of confidentiality.
I'm in a quagmire here. I'm trying to wrap my head around this because I'm still kind of confused on it. And we're just going back and forth here. I understand your point. That you don't believe this bill should be presented. We're trying to get the solution here. Senator Yates has something to say, and I want to hear from him.
There's no language to indicate the specificity of the lawsuit, so you can't make any inferences about who these people are.
There's quotes. That's as specific as it gets.
There's quotes?
Okay, now we're just going back.
Okay.
What is inquiry?
Yes,
Sorry. Would this be resolved if this session goes into executive session, so no legal?
Okay, so.
This doesn't mean anything, if you don't want to do that, okay. Suppose I resubmitted that lawsuit right now with those exact quotes, which were supposedly covered, right? Then it could be me who here all of this, right?
Okay.
So why does this say who it is?
Okay. Nothing, yeah, I know that for a fact.
Nothing has been said.
I don't think they, the chief I don't think that.
So, I should have this information, just like everyone else, and I thought I was myself with this exact quote, and then would it be me, would it be less?
So, my decision is that it is legal to present this bill. Now, do you want to appeal that decision?
Yes, I do.
All right, let us go to a vote then. Yes. I said that this bill is legal to be put on the floor. He appealed that decision. Yes.
Would it be if there were members in the Senate body who were a part of the lawsuit being mentioned, and they had access, though it's not public, they had access to a lawsuit with the locations mentioned in the presentation, wouldn't that be a breach of confidentiality? Because it may not be open to the public, but there are people here who know that identity, and for that reason, violates the confidentiality agreement. I know, you know, exactly what.
Yeah, doesn't change it.
There's no way you can say that.
I could submit.
Repeat it one more time, please. Repeat it one more time. I need to try to wrap my head around
The
this.
lawsuit, right? In the lawsuit,
Do we know a lawsuit was like if it's not public? How do we know that? How do we know that it was filed? Like,
it says it in the thing, the very first slide of the lawsuit.
let's go back then.
Nothing's been finalized, nothing went to a house, it's still in litigation.
Okay.
And I was very clear that nothing's been finalized, it's still in litigation.
Chairman, you yourself announced the lawsuit to this very body.
Point of order, we do not know what we're talking about that specific lawsuit, and that cannot be.
That is not the lawsuit
The
being,
lawsuit to this body.
that's not the lawsuit being referenced.
Go ahead and infer based on
Nick, that's not the lawsuit being
Order.
That's not the lawsuit.
Yes, yes, I'm trying to figure this out here. Go, yes, go on. Let's see, go on.
My question is, if a lawsuit, not the lawsuit, if a lawsuit is presented, right?
Yeah.
And there are members of the Senate body involved in that lawsuit.
Yes.
Voting that document. And they can cite quotations that are being used in this presentation. Wouldn't that break confidentiality? And for example, person X and person Y are involved with person A and B, who are also involved in the lawsuit. Person A and B have access to that document. And for that reason, confidentiality is broken because they can access those quotations.
There can be multiple lawsuits with those same quotes in it.
Why are you?
They can't.
There can be multiple lawsuits with those same quotes in it. There can be multiple lawsuits with those same quotes in it.
Okay, so that, I mean, yes, I don't care about this.
So the point is, we don't know how many lawsuits that are currently going on that have those quotes in it. And for that matter, that is why it is confidential, because they could be talking about some random lawsuit. Maybe there are 10 lawsuits filed with those exact quotes in it. They could be talking about any of them. But we don't know is the point. And that's exactly what keeps it confidential, our lack of knowledge on that.
Yeah. I deem we can move forward with this bill. Yeah, I know you will feel something about it. So, appeal consent, right?
Appeal doesn't technically.
Second? All right then.
I have a point of inquiry.
Go on before we go into this vote.
To appeal the decision, you need 2/3, correct?
Yep.
All right, good luck.
Okay. So yes. We'll go. Chairman Reagan, please. Let us go into a vote, please. Let us. Calm. Thank you. Yes.
She can make a joke because I've been crying all night. And the way that
Let us. I understand.
Thank you.
Let us go into a vote. Vote is open. A, if you want to appeal my decision. B, if you do not want to appeal my decision. And C is abstain.
Ladies turn.
If you think Chin is wrong.
A is to appeal?
A is to appeal my decision. So if you're appealing my decision, then you're not doing this.
If you uphold the decision. We're wrong. That was crazy. If you appeal the decision, we're not doing the vote. If you uphold the decision, we're doing the vote.
We're moving forward with considering the bill. If you
So,
think. Yeah, that's B.
We're getting all of our senators online votes.
Can I make a point of personal presence once this vote is done?
Sure,
Please, thank you.
sure. I'll close out a minute. Why are we doing this? Vote is closing.
Vice Chair, did you get my vote?
I did.
So the vote is 9. How much? What are the other? So 9, 19, 5. 9, 19, 5. My decision stands. Let us move forward. Thank you.
I was the last one? Okay, so I think, okay.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay then. I didn't know you guys were done. All right. Y'all want a question?
That's it.
All right. Senator Crawford. Do you?
For now, yes.
You have to.
No, wait, it's just my voice, nothing fancy. You guys have to deal with it. I'm sorry.
Yes, yeah.
Was anyone's question regarding this specific investigation?
Could you elaborate on the question?
Can you stand near the microphone?
Yeah.
Like, for example, did you question person X or Y, because you're making claims of their intentions by filing this lawsuit? Did you question them and ask of their intentions of filing the lawsuit?
No, we did not.
Do you respond to your for
Go ahead.
why did you ask questions?
Point of person, I'm letting this question stand. I'm letting it stand. My point of personal privilege is that bylaw 207.5.3, which is the investigative bylaws for ORC, which apply to ethics, all individuals will be guaranteed the right of due process to the Student Association Constitution, have the right to appeal any decision of the Student Association Senate to the Student Association Supreme Court. That due process includes questioning individuals who are accused of committing any crime at all, which includes like, I'm sorry,
Why do you do this to me? I'm confused. Okay, I understand that. I've allowed the question to stand. All right, go on. There was a question. Go on.
With the bylaw that was just stated, it was with the appeals process of appealing decisions to the Supreme Court. Within that Supreme Court, if they wanted to appeal it to them, then they are guaranteed like due process with an investigation with the court.
No. It's not what the bylaw states.
Do you want me to answer the question?
Yes, please.
All right, so.
Let him answer.
The ethics committee felt that we had enough evidence, and it was not necessary to question person X and person Y.
All right, go on, Senator, please.
Okay. My question is it required by the ethics subcommittee, not ORC, to question, people in which complaints were against?
No.
Follow up. Ethics. Isn't it true that just because ORC does something, it doesn't mean ethics has to? But if ethics does something, ORC has to. So like a subcommittee has to follow the committee structure, but the committee does not follow the committee structure.
Well,
Say
it works
you guys-
neither way.
Huh?
It works neither way, meaning actually,
Go on, Yeti.
yeah.
Let us listen.
So it's actually specifically with ethics. There are specifically laid out rules for how ethics shall operate, which means they don't need to follow all the same rules ORC has to follow. And it doesn't work the other way around either, meaning if ORC does something, they don't need to follow all the same rules ethics needs to follow. There are separate rules laid out for the subcommittee and for the committee separately, so they don't need to both follow both sets of rules. They're separate completely.
Senator Klein.
Just also zero for a question.
Yes.
Could you really quickly go back to the slide that was the point of contention earlier?
Was it this one?
Wait, back to the other one. Could the sponsors clarify what they mean by this investigation? Was this investigation being conducted by the ethics subcommittee?
What we're presenting now, are you talking about?
No, the middle quote, not every person's name, yada, yada, yada. How would they know who was called and if it involved this investigation? Could you clarify what you mean by that?
Yeah, so it's conducted by us.
Point of order. So pursuant to 702.2.1.1, breach of conduct form submitted.
Yeah. Where's the microphone? Get that.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
So my point of order relates to conflict of interest in investigations. If this is relating to an investigation that you guys were investigating, that lawsuit,
this whole investigation being conducted by you guys would be a severe conflict of interest considering there was pending litigation with that into your committee that was suing whatever was suing. And you state that how would they know, and with a petition about this investigation, that's a conflict of interest, and this investigation will be null and void.
All right, I put down a few things,
I'd like to speak on that point of order because it's actually wrong. The bylaw that you're referencing talks about if a complaint is filed, not a lawsuit. I remember because Mr. Crandall was very specific. So, well, I'm calling a point of, what's it called? I'm speaking on behalf of point of order and I asked to be recognized and it was acknowledged. So I'm having this conversation. We can talk after you. So my issue with this is that the point of order is, so I guess I'm on a personal privilege, so it's on the record. It's incorrect because the bylaw does not state that if, that the investigation is done by ethics. The bylaw states that the complaint is filed against ethics. It was a lawsuit, two different things. If a lawsuit is filed against ethics and a complaint comes in revolving the lawsuit, it's not what the bylaw states. The bylaw states that the complaint was filed against the entire ethics committee and ad hoc was developed. So no, there's not violation of bylaws. Conflict of interest, that's up to the transportation.
On the questioning, if you have debate points, you can go into debate. But we are at 10:41, and it was looking like a quick night to finish at 12 o'clock night.
On the point of order,
I really want to move into questions in time.
so on this point of order, with conflicts of interest, I didn't mention a bylaw, I cleaned myself up there on the second attempt. But with a conflict of interest, if there is any situation where a party may be involved, where a decision could affect, or something else could affect their decision making, that is a conflict of interest. And if it's dealing with something that was being accused against the ethics subcommittee, they wouldn't be able to investigate that. That would have to be an ad hoc ethics subcommittee appointed by you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm going to ask for a moment specifically on this. I want to talk to the Vice Chairman, Alderman Terry. So we're going to stand at ease for 3 minutes because at this point, this bill is causing too much conflict for me to bear right now. Come on, Deb. Yep.
Oh, I can't.
I don't want to play guys.
Well, come here.
There is no issue. They're trying to filibuster. I don't want
She is culture. I'm on the state board and I'm on the national board, so. She is there. Yeah, you must give me never answered.
Well, I didn't email you, I emailed the college I did not at the beginning of the semester.
Well, give me the
No, like, I went to the student involvement page.
I think. Y'all did a great job. I'm back. I'm back. So, every time.
Yeah, so hold on one second.
I'm saying it. It takes you about an hour, it passes, and it goes into a board.
I'm glad we agreed on that. All right, let's just.
Slow down the record. Well, not go, let's go to the public committee and then the hour.
I agree. This is the second vote. Whatever.
I think it's not-
I'm closing every investigation.
Whoa, I got an investigation.
Let it pass.
Listen, I wrote.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, but I'm not okay with this debate. So let's have a vote.
That's within your power to stop irrelevant questions.
Okay, all right. All right, let's get senators back in the loop. Yeah, yeah, I'm okay with that. Because I do understand the community has work to do next week. So we're either gonna fail it, pass it, that's it. I get that.
Is it fair?
Yeah. Let us come back to order. Let us get senators back in this room.
It's not a bad investigation. It's a not terrific.
Any senators out there?
Let it pass or fail.
All right, fine. I'm gonna move it to call the question.
Go for it. Nick, you calling to order or what?
All right, here's what we're gonna do. Yes, that's what we're gonna do. This is what my decision is. All right? Stopping irrelevant questions. I'm going to ask for us to go into debate and vote on this bill. Right? So, please. Move the call for the question. Second, by Senator Chairman Scamperly. Any objections? Objection to Senator Rose. We're gonna move the call, the objection to question.
Person privilege, it's point of inquiry.
Sorry, I'm making sure that it's working, yeah. I have debate wants to make, that's my plan. All right, so A.
If we just to clarify, we're voting on the original, what point of power?
That's a point of inquiry for Nick. What are we voting on?
You're voting on the objection. So there was a move to call this bill to question, it was objected to, so you're voting on the objection.
No, you're voting on the motion.
Yes, so A is you're gonna go to call this bill to question.
Yes.
B is you're gonna stay where we are.
Yes.
And C is abstain.
Yep, you
Yes.
need 2/3 to call someone to question.
A is you want to call this bill to question. B is you're gonna stay where we are, and C is abstain. Yes.
Wait, I was confused. There was just a stand or at ease, and then you guys deliberated. What was like the decision? Like, was there any
Yes, there was deliberation. There was a deliberation. Our deliberation is we're taking very long on this bill, and we want to try to move this process along. There's been questions that were asked. A lot of the questions cannot be answered in this court, in this setting. It has to be answered by the court. So why are we doing the judicial branch's job right now? I do not understand. So let us move forward. Thank you. Go on, Senator Malvin.
Where's the proof of all these allegations?
That is not. If you do not believe that they are proof, you have the power of a vote. That is your power. You can vote no. Thank you. Too late in the semester for this. Please. All right. A is you want to call this bill to question. B is you not. And C is the same.
No.
No. Yes.
Do you want to just vote on this bill now, yes or no?
Thank you. A is you want to call this bill to question. B is you not want to call this bill to question. And C is abstain. Of course. I will leave it open until 4:40 here. Make sure. Are we getting the vote online?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay. All right, vote is closed.
Yep. 2/3 to call to question, otherwise it goes.
All right. What is the vote from online there? 4 A's, so the vote is 22, 5, 4.
We're voting on this now.
Yeah, so we're going to a vote.
Needs a simple majority to pass.
A, if you want to approve this bill. B is you not want to approve this bill. And C is abstain. The vote is open. A, if you want to approve this bill. B is you not want to approve this bill. And C is abstain. Yes.
Simple.
Majority.
Ethics violations are simple majority. No, ethics violations are simple majority. I stand by what I said. Senator Velasquez.
If you're gonna say my name, say it right.
Chairwoman.
All right. Vote is closed.
Votes from online?
14-6-11.
14-6-11, abstentions do not count.
Abstentions, it's more than a simple majority. Yeah.
This bill passes.
It still needs a signature.
All right. So let us move forward.
Point of inquiry, where was Senator Goldsmith Rose's bill placed as? Alrighty, this should be fun.
Nick, can I resign?
You resign, I resign, we all go.
Everything in order.
Yeah.
Someone said see with court, students do that, so I want that.
You're allowed to sue whoever you want.
Okay. We're moving forward. Thank you. What bill are we up to on?
Dylan's brother. You want that stricken, Dylan?
Oh, this bill is not on the agenda. Okay.
I emailed it to you earlier.
Would y'all want me to send this all out to you, or you can see it on the screen?
How long is it?
It's like 7 lines.
Okay. Okay. They're gonna have to do it like this.
It's gonna be my 20th bill, and it's very weird.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's not opening up here. All right, I cannot see the downloaded, so you will present it like this. I'm sorry about that. Okay. All right, I'm sorry, I cannot download it, but you'll see it like that.
You can just put it in its own window. As a tree.
Really? Like this?
Yeah.
This one?
No, you just go to open a new window. Just right next to show email.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you hide the email.
There you go. Okay.
And then you can full size it if you want.
You got it? You got like this? All right. All right, go out to the car.
Okay, how are you doing today, everyone? Very fun night. Stay positive. I will stay positive. I will try my best. All right.
Yeah. Let's go.
All right, so here we are. This is a resolution calling for us to address the supposed election fraud that we have heard so many claims about. I've gotten numerous notifications from my constituents of voter intimidation and voter suppression within our elections, specifically against a certain presidential and vice presidential ticket. What I will tell you is there has been multiple complaints submitted officially that were not either heard or denied. And that is problematic. Now, we set the precedent that we can overrule through our Constitution decisions that are not explicitly outlined in our bylaws. And refusing to hear or refusing to rule on a specific complaint is not something that is specifically defined in our bylaws for the Elections Commission to do. So with this bill calls for the Student Association Senate, with passage of this legislation, enacts Article 2, Section 3, Subsection 2 of the Student Association Constitution to overrule a number of decisions made by the Elections Commission. Now, you all may be asking, what does that specific section say? It says, the Student Association Senate shall have the power to reject any policies, procedures, and actions which are not explicitly granted within the Student Association Constitution by a 2/3 vote of those Student Association Senate members present and voting. Now, we have all heard the complaints because I have heard multiple senators tell each other about what they have witnessed in this election. It is very problematic if we set the precedent that we can allow someone to commit voter intimidation potentially without having a full investigation. So we are overruling with this piece of legislation the decisions, and in Section 7, it states that they shall not declare the Ganeshan and Walker president-elect and vice president-elect until a complete investigation of the allegations presented has been completed. And furthermore, it goes to state that we call on them to investigate this and then release their findings to the Senate and to the public. We must stand for free and fair elections and stand up for our democratic process. Our chairman himself made this remark during last semester about subverting democracy. We cannot allow that in our elections. And it is very important that we stand out against voter intimidation and voter fraud. With that, I'll yield for questions.
Questions?
I have a question.
Senator LeBlanc?
Sorry. I was a little sorry, I'm trying to find the section. Did you reach out to the chair of the Elections Commission before creating this?
So I have had contact with the Elections Commission chairwoman regarding complaints made against a specific ticket, and I was told that complaints were either thrown out or not heard.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Any others?
Questions? Senator Ortiz?
So, this is a resolution,
Yes.
non-binding. If it were to pass, how do you intend on ensuring that an investigation is done, ensuring that we are looking into the elects? Like, how do you plan on guaranteeing that?
So the precedent was set with using this article last year, while it was used for malicious purposes. While it was used with confusing and strange purposes that were not clear to members of the Senate at the time as to why they were.
Like, strike any mention of trying to claim what people's purposes are. Like, you don't.
Let's move on.
So we can use this, we use it for. This is something that would be important, and when we used it, it came in the form of a resolution. So this is how, that's the thing. This is how we do things with enacting clauses of our Constitution.
Senator Rose?
I'm sorry.
Go on, show me. You got a microphone you can get? I just want to hear it.
Where's the second one?
Possible. Let's see. Thank you.
So, you have said because of what happened last year, that's why you chose to do a resolution. But I'm trying to phrase my question correctly. But like, did you consider other options such as filing with the Supreme Court or even filing a breach of conduct, kind of? Or did you just think about what happened last year and decide to go this route? I'm just trying to see like your thought process about it.
So with the second point to your question, I had been looking at avenues of which the court can take action, and that's something I am continuing to look at. However, we are in a process right now where our president-elect has to start crafting the budget. And it requires expediency, and one of my things is that I'm nervous it could get caught up in the
Okay. Senator Rose?
I'd like to move to debate.
Move to go into debate.
Election.
No, move to go into debate second.
Yes.
Second, Senator Mahoney, Justin. Senator McGuire has some suggestions.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go on, Senator McGuire. Let's get him. If there's anything back in the
So I'm just a bit confused. So when you say that they refused to take action, but then they also said that it was unsubstantiated, is them claiming it was unsubstantiated, not them taking action? Is that not their opinion?
So the claims were very thoroughly substantiated. There were multiple pictures that have been circulating on social media of clear voter intimidation. There have been recordings that have shown clear evidence of voter intimidation or some form of it, both video and voice recordings. So this is something that is very problematic. And not only as a senator, but as a voter as well, it's something that would concern me if these allegations are being brought up and not being investigated.
Go on, Senator.
And so this, I guess, plethora of information that exists, how do you expect us to go against what the commission said if we've never seen it before?
I'll answer your question with a question. Do you want to see it?
No, that's not admissible.
That's not, but go on.
So, and what I will add to that, last year, when there was an ask for additional materials to be made available for the presentation of the resolution, that was not, so it would be skirted in line with the resolution. It's not, for example, an ethics recommendation or a article of impeachment that we would be able to supplement the materials to provide that to us.
Hey. Senator Rose,
mascot. That's the word. And just.
That's just the title of Red Shot. I don't know if that.
Oh, okay, yeah, but I feel Bill's good, okay. Alright.
Yeah, no.
Okay, can we move on? You have to move to debate. Okay, Senator Rose, you want to move debate? Can I 2 seconds on objection? We're in debate.
I'd like to give time to the chairwoman of the next speech.
Okay. I'll let the chairwoman speak first, and then I'll go to
Microphone?
Yeah, you talk. Fine.
Okay, so. I'm not really sure how you want me to take this bill, to be honest. Because I've worked all semester with the commission to conduct our elections fairly, action complaints. All of our decisions have been unanimous. I am one of 5. It's not just in my opinion. I think to sort of imply, as I think some of the language that's here, is that we've not made a single right decision. I think that's offensive and a little bit insulting. That you didn't even think to consult with me or even anyone on the commission about this prior to you submitting it tonight. Now, I understand that elections are contentious. Genuinely, I understand that I'm going to be someone's favorite person and someone's least favorite person depending on the result, and I respect that. But I think to imply that we don't make decisions and take them seriously, I don't think it's fair. I think it's insulting to the people that I have called in for meeting after meeting to discuss these complaints endlessly, even though they're the same sometimes, and give them equal hearing and equal time and equal purpose in this process. And so I'm not really sure how to take. I had immense respect for you, and I had immense respect for the campaign that you ran. And I just don't know if this is respectful to me or the commission, that you can discuss that with me prior to you putting this together. I would have met with you to talk about this. I would have been kind to you. And I just think that I don't know how to feel about that. You know what I mean? And so I wouldn't be being myself if I wasn't honest with you on that. And that's just my take on it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go, fine.
So, first off, there was no disrespect with presenting this bill. I have a hell of a lot of stuff for you guys to talk about, of course.
No cussing in the chamber.
Go on.
So, the reason this bill came is because we have had multiple conversations about issues that multiple people have seen. And I recall a conversation where I even told you that they were really going ahead and doing this with you more than like 500 people. So, as a voter and as someone who believes in free and fair elections, that's something that was kind of like a little bit of a, like, what's going on here? There's no, of course, any disrespect to with this. And of course, as I said, I respect you guys a lot. But Senate has the power to say when something is wrong. When, say, a body that was under us, may have gotten it wrong. It doesn't mean that we're disciplining you guys. It doesn't mean that we're coming after you guys. It just means that we disagree with this decision and feel that we should have conducted another one.
All right, put the console and others around to you. And then I'll make my way around again.
Hi, so my comment has less to do with the spirit of the bill, but more so about the process. So in the Student Association, the Elections Commission is a quasi-judicial body and makes decisions regarding elections. And the Supreme Court is appellate in those decisions. So I believe that if you disagree with the Elections Commission's decision on this matter, that it should be appealed through the court. I think that's just the structure of how things work in the Student Association. I do hear you on fair elections, but I just, even though the spirit of
the bill is up for debate. I think the process is what's wrong here, respectfully. I want to echo what the council just said because we saw last year how elections get flipped. The resolution that was proposed last year bombed. But the court case, when Jordan Osmond and Justin Yankee submitted their court case, had the structure, they got their decision, that is the proper way that was established. So if you want to cite last year and things we did last year, and this is what we presented last year, sure, present what worked last year. This did not work last year. And if you look at who our president is, we can confirm it didn't work last year. My other thing is.
What's going on here?
So, another thing is section 3. The Elections Commission refused to take action on these complaints, claiming they were unsubstantiated. We had a huge argument. The sponsor included debating how to verify evidence. The Elections Commission has the right to say that some evidence is not, it can't be authenticated. We have that debate already. We've already made our stances on it. So if you're going to come back and now that it's convenient, say you don't have to authenticate evidence, now it's a slap in the face to everyone else you're arguing before. So there's a lot of different pieces there's a lot of pieces in this bill that are pulling from past legislation that we've been working on. Whether it's based on evidence, it's based on people in soccer, and how they presented resolutions. Or, how court is presented. I get where you're coming from. Do I agree with what the elect did? No. I can tell you personally that came up to my friends and tried getting them to vote and forcing them to vote. And everyone started cheering for a better tomorrow. So, what is, people are agreeing, it's known, there's a lot of issues about it, but this is not the right way to do it. And because, in my opinion, this is the worst way to do it, I'd like to motion to table this bill indefinitely.
Motion for table indefinitely on.
Okay, so you need to go ahead and get rid of this. No. Okay, then I want to object to. Point of private inquiry. Yiddy, how do I get rid of this?
You can call the question and get rid of that.
Okay, I move to call it a question.
I'm gonna move to call this bill to question. Is there a second? Senator Goldsmith, have a second? Senator Goldsmith, Senator Klein, you object?
Yeah.
Fine, whatever, I understand. And I'm gonna say, Molly Donellan and Anton Scamperly, Alexander Yeager, Timothy Goldsmith, Steve McGuire, in that order, go through.
She can't make it.
I don't know. I don't think that is hard. Yeti, can she just do that like that, Yeti? Yeti, can she just call on 5 people and they go in that order? She called on 5 people in order. That just takes me my right to call on people.
You need to give everyone the right to vote. If you want to limit debates, that needs 2/3.
That's not what happened, Yeti. She literally just stood up and mentioned 5 people in order so they can speak in that order.
She doesn't get to do that. It's your thing to do.
That's why I said it's my thing to do. But Madam Vice Chair, when you go. Are you trying to take away my power like that?
I'm not gonna walk over there for the mic, I'm not doing it.
What kind of this?
All right. First time y'all hearing from me all semester on this topic, right? Because of the virtue of my position, I like to stay out of things pretty often, and I like to maintain neutrality, I like to maintain impartiality. That's something I've always sworn by. I hear where all your concerns are coming from with respect to the process that this resolution went through, right? I get that. And I don't quite know if I am able to do this, but I still have a lingering thought on whether or not, are there different decisions being enacted? And this is a question to the body. Are there different decisions being enacted where one is we're not accepting complaints, and one is we've ruled and we've deemed these specific complaints, let's call them A, B, and C, to be unsubstantiated, and we're not taking D, E, and F, right? That's where I'm confused in terms of moving to call this to question so soon. I do think that that's a clarification I would like before voting on this at some point during this debate from anyone who can give me that clarification, whether that's, the chairwoman, whether that's the senator, I don't know. That is something I'm concerned about going into debate with. Also, I don't disagree with the actions taken at the end of the resolution in terms of us asking the EC to intervene. Have they already done that? I don't know. I'm not tapped into this issue. This is not, for lack of a better phrase, this is not my monkey, not my circus. I will not be here. However, I would like that clarification before we go into the vote. That's my debate point. I mean, before we go into the vote, I would like that clarified by somebody, whoever can do that. Because I think that that's where a lot of the issues in the body are coming from, is people aren't really clear on what we're arguing about.
Chairwoman, would you like to respond to that? What is?
Cars outside.
I'll let the chairwoman respond and I'll go to the rest, but she was specifically.
Okay, so your question is, has the election commission taken action on complaints that have alleged what is in the bill?
Kind of. My question is, are there complaints that were not taken, or are all the complaints that you've received, were they investigated and then deemed unsubstantiated? Or is it some mix of both of those circumstances?
Okay, so to answer your question, there's a level of complexity because you have to differentiate which election we're doing in the context of it. So, for argument's sake, if a complaint is filed, say for the runoff election, a complaint is filed, but is evidence found during a general election, how can the election commission put that in the scope of a runoff? Because it didn't occur during the runoff, it's a whole new election. So
No, I.
Oh, I'm sorry. So that's the first point. So if there are complaints in our management that came in at that time that would have alleged something in a separate cycle, an event that occurred in a separate cycle to a runoff, is it ethical for the election commission to look at that in the scope of a runoff when that's not the election that we're in? Now, the decision that the election commission has made with this is no, the event needs to correspond with the election that we're in. Effectively, I could take action for any number of elections if that was the case. Any complaint that we've received during the runoff, which is what has determined the president-elect and vice president-elect today, have been actioned. They have been responded to in regards to this allegation that we cited in the bill. That's where the position is now. Now, if the body is calling on the Elections Commission to act now, retroactively, I can't answer that question because from my perspective, how the job is done. We've done the election, the votes are in, that's it. The process now is if you disagree with the Elections Commission tabulation, certification, results, that needs to go to the Supreme Court at this point from our position, because that's where we're at. We've done the process. So I don't know if that provides clarity to your question.
Yes, I don't know if this would be out of turn, but can I clarify something? I don't know if this is out of turn. No.
Go on.
Okay. So with respect to, let's say hypothetically, there was a complaint filed in the general election, right? Before we got to the point of where we're at a runoff. Let's say there was a complaint filed then. All of those, I'm guessing from what you're saying, were also investigated and ruled on by the EC before we got to the runoff? Or were there ones that were not taken at any time?
Okay, so you're saying if there was a complaint filed during the general election, prior to the completion of the general election, were all of those complaints active? No, and the reason being is it depends on when the complaint is filed, because I have to convene a meeting with every commissioner to vote on a complaint. So if I do not have time between the complaint submission and the end result, that will not happen.
What I will say is I know, because I know every complaint that was in on my involvement, not one of those complaints that there was a violation, if you say that that was what the election commission found, would have affected the outcome of that election. Because no violation would have been severe enough to have made any difference to what had occurred, what the voters determined was a successful candidate that won the general election, if that makes sense. So there is a period where the election commission may receive complaints and we may not be able to action before resolve the issue. That's an unfortunate reality of the time. But I can say with the complaints that we have from that period that it would not have done anything to affect the outcome. No candidate would have resolved it. Understood. Thank you.
Hi, I'm trying to make this as quick as possible. I lost my election. I was really sad about it. I ended up crying in my room alone that night because it hurt me. But I trust in the process because the students voted, the elections commission investigated. We have to trust in the process that they do. I know for a fact that they've heard and reviewed as many of these allegations as possible, and they saw as they saw fit, and this is the result. I wasn't happy that I lost. I'm choking up now because I lost it. I put in a lot of work into this body, but we have to accept what has happened. I kindly ask that the sponsor of this bill pull it, because we have to trust in the process, and obviously this is not going to go through.
Go on, please, Anthony, go on.
I'm not gonna. I yield the rest of my time to Senator Gentry, so he doesn't get missed.
I'm gonna get to you instead of time, you know I am.
First, there was a statement made earlier, that insinuated the elections commission does not value free and fair elections. And I want you all to know.
That was never mentioned.
He said a little bit insinuation. There was no insinuation. I want to thank all of you, who worked with you on behalf of the Senate. And I was from the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry to each and every person on the committee. I'm sorry you do not feel so I really I have immense respect for you all, the processes you use. Often people don't like processes when they're out in favor. I feel the same thing, and people don't always respect us, and so I feel you on that, but I want you all to know I have immense respect for you all, and I commend you all for the work you have done. So, thank you.
I think this is a little bit insane. I think that you have a personal agreement, and I think that is fine, with the outcome of the election. But I think that you're asking so much of this entire body. You want us all to agree with what you believe. And I think that's why we have the commission in the first place. And I think if you disagree with that, I don't think this is the place, to share that grievance. I think number 3, whereas the elections commission refused to take action. I think they did take action. I think the chairwoman said that. I think it insinuates that they're all sitting down and drinking cups of tea, and really they did do their job, and they did look at the students, and they kind of from fact sheet. So I think they did their job, and I think this is just
All right, everyone. I wanted to, over the course of this runoff election, I did have a complaint, and I just wanted to speak on my experiences with the election commission. So I filed a complaint, I submitted my evidence, and in less than 48 hours, I received a response. Was it the response I personally really wanted? No. However, I did receive a long, detailed message about about what their vote was in the commission, in addition to what was talked about within that meeting to deem my complaint invalid. There wasn't a single part of me where I thought it was unjust or invalid. The chairwoman obviously took the time to detail what happened and what their process was.
I think to say that they're not taking action just based off of my experience isn't valid. You know, just because it's not a result that I personally wanted doesn't mean that I'm going to, you know, write something like this or even take it to the court. You know, I respect what they do and I respect their decision. Even though it wasn't in my favor, sometimes you just gotta take a deep breath and swallow it. And just know that they're here to do their job. And that, you know, they obviously met, they voted, and they communicated what was wrong with my complaint and why they voted the way they did.
Yeah. I'm going to turn back on. I move the call to fill the question. The second to that, Chairman, can please second that move, any objections? The client objects.
Same objection as before, we had multiple debate points. Let them see. Let them see. I had one last time.
Point of inquiry, is there a way that we can see if someone else debates, or someone else objects because they have debate points with the building?
Point of order, that's not a point of person.
Yeah, I know it's
No,
not.
no,
I know it's not, I know.
There's a point of inquiry.
Yeah, okay.
Right, there's a point of inquiry. And my question is there a way to see who else has debate points and if they're willing to call the question? Because right now, from my understanding, Senator Klein is speaking on behalf of others, saying that others want to make debate points, so I just want to see if those others are willing to object or if they're okay with calling the question.
I don't feel comfortable doing that at the moment. If someone, you know, wants me to talk on the conversation, they need to call it. Okay.
I call the question.
You're gonna move the call to fill the question by Chairman Scanlon, please, and a second by Senator Yates. Is there an objection? Senator Klein objects.
I move forward.
Now you need to call an objection.
The nature of my objection is that the chair himself told me that I would get a point to make a debate point, and I would like to make that debate point. If I may,
I'll allow him to make his own debate point and we'll move forward after that. I did promise him. Yes. And I keep to my word, so. All right, go on.
So really quickly, as referencing what a previous senator just said as it regards to a complaint, I also filed a complaint where there were witnesses. Witnesses were not called to talk about the alleged infraction. And I never received any notification on if the alleged infraction was ever taken up by the Elections Commission. So while one experience may happen with one senator or one voter, another experience may happen with another voter. We need to make sure, and with this bill, I'm just calling for an investigation. We're enacting that clause pending a complete and thorough investigation of the claims at hand. We've done this before where we've had the Elections Commission suspend the results of an election pending a vested investigation, with that resulted in a retroactive disqualification. Also, our bylaws explicitly state that after an election has concluded, people have 48 hours to submit complaints. Now, given that we are outside that 48 hours, and given that we are within the 48 hours of the runoff, in between the time of the general first announcement and then the announcement today, we did not have a Senate session for this to be able to be brought up. We have heard numerous complaints, and I know members of this body have heard numerous complaints because I've had conversations with you guys about this. There were voice recordings that were sent in, pictures. In some cases, I believe videos were sent in. If we can acknowledge that we just need an investigation of this, that we need a further evaluation at this, then are we doing our jobs in protecting democracy and making sure that we are seeing that our processes aren't failing? Investigation would be the best way to decide if the Elections Commission was right in their decision. We need to have an investigation into the facts that last a period of time, and in that time, we need to make sure that we are not certifying the results of the election because of the seriousness of these allegations. Voter intimidation is illegal for our bylaws. Watching over someone's shoulder and making sure that they pick you on my involvement is a violation of the bylaws. I think everyone here, I hope, has been to an elections commission meeting. That's one of the things that you're told is one of the biggest no-nos in student association elections. You cannot be there while the person is voting, staring at their phone, computer, or whatever device they're using to cast their ballot. If we see clear evidence of this happening, we need to speak up about it, and we need to make sure there's an investigation into it. With that, I will.
Okay. Yes, is there objection? Okay, no objections? A, do you want to pass the resolution? B, do you not want to pass the resolution? And C, abstain. Vote is open. A, if you want to pass this, B, do you not? Abstain. Any still votes online? Once? So we will low form. Okay. Okay. All right. No. So A was you want to pass this, right? A is you want to pass this. B is you not want to pass this, and C abstain. This resolution is hereby passed. What? Right? So didn't look at Pat failed? Right. So it's 1 day. So 9-8. The bill passes. We'll be sending this to the commission.
Is there quorum? Okay.
So
We haven't had quorum in hours. We haven't had quorum all semester, to be honest with you. I don't know if anybody ever showed up.
So we will be sending this to the commission for further.
Wait, does it need to?
Actually, not subject to so who will be passed it by. So all it requires is my signature. And I do intend to decide. Sure, go on. Yeah.
Do we need executive session for what we're doing next?
I was just about to do that.
No, I think.
The name was already mentioned.
Are we allowed to do it? You don't find. I don't think you But maybe.
Okay, everyone, I'm going to motion to go into executive session.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I am motioning to go into executive session for the next piece of legislation, as it is very sensitive.
Timothy, can you, include Ryan, please?
I amend that to include Ryan.
However, we're still.
Oh, let me turn this off.
I mean, I know the gist. That's why I was confused.
Yeah, you'll need someone now. Give.
Awful.
Sorry for asking.
All right, let us call the meeting back to order. We got like, what's the time on money?
The time is 11:36.
All right. I know, let us see if we can do this, right? Okay. All right.
Is the YouTube off?
Oh, no. That press end?
Yeah.
End screen?
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Make sure the iPad's off.
Bye.
All right. Vegas
Right here.
rules.
Oh.
What happens here? Stays here.
Okay.
All right then.
Yeah. And